Hello, Adam. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Congratulations on the Exorcism. I thought this movie was a lot of fun.
Thank you. It sounds to me, it sounds like you were saying on my exorcism.
Yeah.
I've been feeling a lot better.
I know you're a director in real life, and here you are playing a director in a movie within a movie. So I imagine that must have been somewhat of a fun role to play. Uh,
Yeah, it was like an opportunity to be the asshole that, not that I want to be, but there's always a certain amount of politicking. I always say that directing is really is really a lot like being a parent, which I couldn't have known before I had kids, and I realize now it's almost identical. And of course, yeah, my character in this movie is just like the world's worst dad. But yeah.
well, I'm a new parent, so I that's interesting you say that.
Yeah, especially because I don't know. One kid, I'm not sure, but we have two kids, and they never want the same thing at the same time. And gosh, I cannot tell you how much that reminds me of directing.
Well, that's interesting. Did you feel, I mean, I know you sort of mentioned it a second ago, but I mean, did you feel like you were channeling, I mean, maybe you don't want to name drop here, but you've worked with, you know, a lot of directors out there, to put it mildly. Do you feel that at any point you were channeling one, or if not, like a movie character, like a director you saw depicted on the big screen in a past movie or
Yeah,
anything like that?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I think my familiarity with movie sets, film sets was super helpful. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, like just in terms of just little details and kind of ad libs and things like that. One of
Right.
my real pet peeves about films is how often they just get the minutia wrong, and it really throws me, somehow.
Yeah.
And they're like, rolling, action, print, lunch, like that. It just drives me insane. So just keeping it like kind of as real as you could possibly keep it in this very microcosmic sort of, examples that we have in the film. My experience on set, whether as an actor or as a director or whatever, was probably helpful. But, in terms of like just the kind of, who the character is, I think, whether we want to admit it or not, we all possess these characteristics, and it's a question of whether or not you're going to sort of take the lid off of them
Yeah.
for a particular role. And this was an opportunity to sort of really tap into my egoism and megalomaniacism, I guess. And it just kind of really let her rip. It felt very organic. And that's a little weird. It's like you kind of wonder why that's in there to the extent which it is. And I remember people on the set constantly saying to me, like, "Oh my God, I know that guy. I know that guy." I mean,
Yep.
so many people, because these are all crew members who no doubt have probably been yelled at more than me, just because of the way that the just sort of hierarchy of filmmaking
Yeah.
works. But and arguably I've seen more actors act the way that this director did than directors, but
Yeah. I get it. And you've worked with Russell Crowe before, 2 decades later after A Beautiful Mind. I was curious, working with him again, have you noticed any sort of change in, how he works as an actor, or his approach or anything like that? Or was it just sort of same old Russell kind of thing?
I remember it's the same thing, which was that on the one hand, well, you're pals with him, you're hanging out with him, you're talking with him. It's like you think of someone like Russell, or I thought of someone like Russell as this, kind of, well, sort of like what we're doing in the film, right? Which is this kind of Stanislavski, sort of method, where you're mining the very depths of your soul. And, here in both instances, Russell is playing characters who are unraveling, and yet, you're having a conversation with Australian Russell, making jokes, whatever, and then seconds later, you're sort of watching him, you know, um, play this entirely different person than he is, and
Yeah.
it's a marvel. In this particular instance, it was really a lot of fun. It was a lot like I keep using this analogy. I think it's because I've been playing tennis for the first time in years. But it was like playing like amazing tennis, is what it feels like working with Russell,
Awesome. Great. I'm a tennis player too. So
So yeah, so
very cool. Very cool. Well, great. Well, thank you, Adam. That's all the time
yeah,
I have. But it's
absolutely.
very nice to meet you, and congratulations again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.